Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Are you guys interested in the session? We will have a quite long session, but I promise you it will all be interesting. So the first one, we have Professor Low from Public Health, University of Malaya, and then we continue into the second discussion with Professor Kuo from University of Taipei, and the last one is from Prof. John from the National Institute of Education, Singapore. Each session will be around 40 minutes, and then we have, at the end, we will have a question and answer session, around 20 minutes for each presenter. So if you have several questions, just write it down first, and then by the end of our 3 sessions, we will have a quite engaging discussion together. So the first one, I want to introduce a bit about Professor Low Wahyun. Could we please have the curriculum vitae shown? Thank you. Professor Low Wahyun is working in the Research Management Center, Faculty of Medicine, University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I've read the curriculum vitae, and it gives me continue the master and PhD in the University of Surrey, England. The total articles in publication is 405 articles with the high index about 15, which is very high. And then Psychological Association and the International Society for Sexual Medicine. She has written several books and published lots of articles, and she is the editor-in-chief for the Asian Journal. Asian Journal General Population from a public health perspective. Please welcome Professor Low Wahyun.
Right, a very good morning to all of you. Selamat pagi semua. Yes, that's the spirit I want to see. Right, first of all, my gratitude to the which is really, really nice, the weather. Right, nonetheless, thank you so much to the Faculty of Sports Sciences as well for the generosity and hospitality rendered to me. Right, I will quickly move on since I have been given 40 minutes. I will walk through with you very quickly on what physical activity is all about and how do we actually promote physical activity in the general population. Now, the general population can consist of who are physically challenged and what have you, all right? So, but I won't deal with all the communities. I will just illustrate a couple of communities to see how physical activities program are actually being carried out, okay? Right, now this is what I will cover in my lecture, public health, physical activity and public health, the role of physical education, and healthy. Now, why are we here? Basically, just as a preamble, to the rest of my lecture. Now, I'm sure some of you are very familiar with this. I think globally, as you're aware, 23% of our adults aged 18 and above are insufficiently active, as per the year 2010. And 20% are male and 27% are female. So generally, I think female, are inactive, compared to a man. And what about adolescent itself? As far as adolescent is concerned, around this age, 81% of them are insufficiently active in the year 2010. All these are based on WHO data, And as we know that it is linked up to non-communicable disease, 80% diabetes mellitus, 27% breast and colon, about a quarter of them, okay? And approximately the death due to physical inactivity, insufficient physical activity, it accounts for 3.2 million, in the world. Okay, so what we have here is physical inactivity is one of the top 5 leading cause of mortality. And I think this is something that we do need to address as sports scientists, as public health education. I'm merely a psychologist by profession. It involves all movement in everyday life, work, recreation, exercise, competition, and what have you, okay? And we should see public physical inactivity as a public health problem, right? So for those of you, I think most of you here are sports scientists, and exactly what public health is. I know the Department of Public Health, it's rather, a new department here in the faculty. So let me just quickly walk through what public health is all about, So they are organized measures, whether it's public or private, to prevent a disease. Now, in public health, our emphasis is on prevention, Not that when you have got a disease, you come in. When you've got a disease, you come in, you go to the hospital. And if you go to the hospital at that point in time, I think as public health specialists, we would have failed in our job, in our duties, So prevention is a key thing as far as public health is concerned, And so what happened is, we, promote health and prolong life among the population as a whole. So I'm sure, you're aware of, epidemiology and what have you. So it aims to provide conditions in which people can be healthy, and therefore we focus on the entire community, entire population, And how do we go about doing that? Through public education, So therefore public education is a channel, where you help to create more awareness, impart knowledge and skill as far as preventive measures, preventive strategies are concerned, okay? And so physical education, prevent chronic diseases, extend life expectancy, and create healthy communities, So at the end of the day, what we want is to create a healthy community through promoting healthy lifestyle. And we do need to see physical activity as part and parcel of our everyday life. We do need to incorporate physical activity in our everyday life. And I think, there is something that I think all of us, should be able to do that. Right, physical education and public health here. What is basically the role of physical education here? Now, as you're aware, physical education, is a channel where, we can use it to promote health through whatever means, through mass media campaign, physically educated individuals, physically educated communities, So that's the end point. Now, I trust some of you may have tried to be exercised basically for health, Of course, there are people here. So for the benefit of our health, we, work on moderate intensity exercise. Right, now what is the impact of health? What is the impact to health, if you have physical inactivity? So these are just some of it. These are childhood obesity. Obesity, particularly in childhood, has actually, escalated. And why is this the case? Because more and more people are seated in front of a computer as healthy. So with all the sedentary work, with all the, sitting in front of the computer, playing computer games, playing with a handphone, compounded by poor dietary habits, and therefore, the increase in obesity. And the risk factors, with an increase in obesity, it actually leads to type 2 diabetes mellitus, hypertension, overweight, cardiac problems, stress, anxiety, stroke, so forth, and so on. So I think our kids are, getting fatter and fatter. This is a fitness center. I think I took this picture, in Korea. Fitness center, they put an escalator there. Instead of walking up, they put an escalator there. All right? Okay. And I'm sure it's very common here too. This is taken in Malaysia. This is all our fast food chain. You have KFC, you have McDonald's, you have Burger King, Teh Tarik, and what have you, with lots of sugar content. And this is a problem with our dietary change, So, now, why are all these things changing? We do have to understand the change, the epidemiological change as far as disease is concerned. Yeah, so the demographic change, the effect of urbanization, modernization, yeah, medical advances. We do have new techniques right now, but if you have reached this stage, then I think it will be too late for public health specialists to actually intervene. And of course, the effects of technology on ecology, the environmental, the pesticides that you have evidence have shown, the social benefits, the physical and mental benefits, the economic benefits, and the environmental benefits, all right? And this is it, yeah, the amount of walking, that is sufficiently required, in our daily life. And just to give you a profile of how our Malaysian looks like, this is Malaysian overweight population. Yeah, this is in Southeast Asia. Yeah, 44%. But of course, this is in 2011. Yeah, in Malaysia it's 44%. Philippines 26.5%. Singapore 30%. And in Thailand 32%. Indonesia 21%. So I think we do have a problem as far as Southeast Asian countries is concerned, where you can see the rate of overweight and obesity is actually escalating. These are the weapons of mass destruction, right? Okay, sedentary job. Sometimes you may be sitting right in front of the couch, fast car. Okay, your dietary, and of course, smoking as well, right? So I think, the general reminder here is NCDs, diabetes, cancer, stroke, lung diseases associated with physical inactivity. All these are very significant public health problem, all right? And 80% of death from common NCDs occur mainly in the low and middle income countries. That includes you and me, yeah? So therefore, I think there is serious need for action here. To create awareness, to restore and maintain high quality of health of the individual and the community, which therefore leads to the whole nation, the whole population. And of course, what is important here for us is to instill a healthy lifestyle. So the question is, trying to promote a healthy lifestyle. So at the end of the day, you will get a healthy community and then, a healthy nation, right? Right. Now, there are many opportunities for physical activities. In your own leisure time. You can incorporate physical activity in your own leisure time. At work itself, there are companies, organizations, where, one day they have about 5-10 minutes, they will switch on, some exercise music, and everybody's just, stop and start exercising, in Taiwan, their ministry is doing that. In Malaysia, our National Institute of Public Health, they have that, in their institute. So in some institute, in some organizations, companies, private companies, they do instill a couple of minutes, morning or afternoon to incorporate physical activities among their staff as well. And in doing domestic chores as well, as far as domestic chores are concerned, these are all the housewives. Where a housewife, most of the time they are just staying indoor. I will later on demonstrate a program where in Malaysia, under our Ministry of Health, Kementerian Kesihatan has initiated a program to help housewives as far as their physical activity is concerned. All right? And of course, during transportation as well, moving from one place to another, always seated in a car, and then how else can you actually mobilize, your limbs, to keep you going? Right. Now, how else can we actually build a healthy community? And this is through the whole concept of health promotion, And what exactly is health promotion here? Because at the end of the day, is to promote a healthy lifestyles, of our communities, of our population. This actually involves the whole population as a whole, in the context of everyday life, And of course, it is directed to action that are determinants of health. So bear in mind, you do need to know what are the factors or determinants that affects health. And from there, knowing the determinants, the factors, and then you work on it, okay? And of course, we have to be, multi-methods approach. or multidisciplinary. And when we talk about, coming out with multidisciplinary program, it involves, all the various stakeholders. It involves different discipline, involves sports science, involves sports educationalists, involve epidemiologists, involve, teachers. So those who are concerned of physical activities can come along, actually, to improve, to develop programs which is multi-factorial or multi-method or multidisciplinary. I think that is very important. And I think the various stakeholders needs to partake in the program. And all this involve effective and concrete public participation. At the end of the day, it's to benefit the public. So I think it's important to include, the public into, whatever planning or decision making that you have. Include them right at the beginning, rather than here. I think this is the program that you want. Okay, now if you do it in that approach, sometimes I think the failure is much more as compared to inviting the participants right up in front during the planning stage. Right, now these are the essential components of areas of healthy community. There are various, as far as healthy community is concerned, these are all the components taken into picture, but one of them here that is related to the conference here will be physical activity and active mobility. Apart from health literacy, to improve knowledge of the public as far as physical activities that affects health. The mental well-being as well, I think we all do acknowledge the fact that if you do physical activity, it does affect, your mental health, your mental well-being. Social interaction, can be seen as a form of social activities. You go to the park, you can see, people doing physical activities such as Tai Chi, Qigong, and Silat, or what have you. And that can be actually a form of social activities. Healthy diet and balanced nutrition as well. And of course, safe sexual behavior. So this is part of healthy community, healthy living. And of course, what we advocate is also a balance between work-life balance. Not everything is about working, not everything is about playing, but there must be a balance between work and life balance. Very important. And of course, at the end of the day, what constitutes healthy living is environmental safety. If there isn't any environmental safety, you wouldn't be coming out, from a house to go to the park and do your exercise. So I think one also seriously need to, the accessibility as far as environmental issues are concerned, the infrastructure is concerned. If there is no equal access or easy accessibility to all the parks, where the exercise machines are located, then I think that defeats the purpose of having those equipment if you don't have proper lights, for them to walk, the ground, are not level, and all these environmental issues, facilities need to be taken care of. Right, now, the reason why I'm putting this up, as you can see in Australia, they have a national physical activity guidelines, and this is the policies that they have. And this is what, the Australians are actually doing. Now, I trust and I believe that in certain countries in Southeast Asia, you all do have your own national guidelines, Now, just to quickly share with you what we have for the community in Malaysia. This is done by our Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia, and it's called a Jom Mama. Jom is a colloquial word. Jom means let's go, and Mama is Mama, because this program is catering to housewife. Because in our study, baseline study, we find that housewife, the obesity rate is pretty high. So they purposely create this program to tackle the housewife, all right? Now, this program actually, was launched in 2012, and it's based on socio-ecological model as to how, we are going to embark on this activity. Basically, this is a longitudinal study where we follow up young couples, newly married couples. So during their pregnancy, and we follow them up, until postpartum and follow them through. And so basically, it's to prevent diabetes in pregnancy and, of course, the next generation. It's a pre-pregnancy intervention for future prevention of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Yeah, so we actually incorporate this program into the healthcare system. So if it's done in the flats, the housing flats and whatnot, so we have the clinic kesehatan. So the clinic kesehatan then, will screen them. They will come down to the clinic kesehatan, to actually screen them. So clinic kesehatan is actually run by Kementerian Kesehatan, all right? So it's actually inbuilt into the existing health system. To explore opportunities for developing and assessing pre-pregnancy intervention to optimize women's health prior to and during the pregnancy. And of course, to understand behavioral factors in relation to the health of young couples. So we're actually tackling young, newly married couples and follow them through until the first child is delivered. So this is our Joe Mama project, is to investigate pre-pregnancy intervention. It's actually an intervention, to improve young couples' health literacy and women's health. And of course, the intervention, I will show you the intervention, So basically, it's the prevention and reduce the risk of NCDs, non-communicable diseases, So what we did here was, we did an ethnographic study, a need assessment of what this housewife, this newly married couple wants. And then we developed an e-health program, okay? This is our phase 2. And the intervention itself consists of health literacy, physical education, nutrition, psychosocial well-being, and pregnancy preparedness. Okay? At the end of the day, what we hope to achieve all these various points that are put up here. We are still evaluating our program. It's not complete yet. It's still ongoing because it's a huge and large project that we have. To improve pregnancy outcome, to reduce risk of contracting type 2 diabetes mellitus. And the offspring, the next generation, hopefully will be less prone to develop type 2 diabetes mellitus. And healthcare professionals as well. This is where, our young doctors, health officer, medical officers, healthcare providers, our public health nurses, nutritionists, dietitians, who are all involved, will achieve competencies to carry out effective health intervention. All right? Okay, now these are the various types of community intervention that one could engage in. So integrated community intervention approach, community-wide campaign, particularly using mass media, via ICT, all right? And community-based approach using personal focus technique. So this is based on individual practices, individual needs, so this is person focus. All community approaches to environmental change, like I said earlier, you do need to have a very conducive environment. Let's say the park is out there, for you to exercise. So if the environment is not conducive, the accessibility is not conducive, there is poor lighting, for instance. So it's very hard, for one to actually walk to the path, to get to the park, for them to do exercise. So you do need to look into these environmental changes as well. And one of the community, that we embark on as well is actually the school promoting healthy schools. And this is where you incorporate physical education, which I trust all of us would have already done that, incorporating physical education into the curriculum in schools. Because right now, kids, the childhood obesity, childhood obesity is actually increasing. So therefore, we need to tackle school kids as well in school. Right, now, just to share with you, this is a systematic meta-analysis review. This is done of 51 countries here. And what are the effective approach as far as evidence in terms of physical activity? Effective approach that they have found is public communication and information, via mass media campaign, decision prompts to encourage use of stairs. Like, for instance, I'm sure, in some buildings, instead of using the lift, elevator, you ask them to use the stairs, okay? So these are decision prompts, to help people to increase their physical activities. And of course, initiative to increase social support for physical activities within communities, neighborhood, and worksite. And of course, to build environmental and infrastructure, as I've said again, to be very conducive for one to engage in physical activities. Okay? So finally, I think from the public health perspective, it's best for us to increase our level of physical activities it is not a problem just for the individual community, but it's a societal problem. And because it's a societal problem, and therefore we need to have a population-based, multi-sectorial, multidisciplinary, and which is culturally relevant, in a certain community. And physical activity is a major component in preventing chronic disease. Couldn't agree with that more, along with healthy diet, non-smoking, and non-substance abuse. And of course, with public health education and intervention, at the end of the day, what we want to promote is a healthy community. All right, so that's the end of my lecture. Now, how many of you all have seen this journal of mine? Anyone? Nampak tak? Pernah nampak tak journal ini? Tak pernah? Alamak. Really? Okay, so it looks like I'm not doing a good job, right? Belum. Okay. Right, so that's a journal that I represent, the Asia Pacific Journal of Public Health. Now, the journal is not owned by University of Malaya. As the editor-in-chief, I happen to be at the University of Malaya, so normally the editorial office would follow the editor-in-chief, all right? Now, the journal is owned by APAC, Asia Pacific Academic Consortium for Public Health, all right? And we hold an annual conference every year, once a year. Last year, it was held at Yonsei University in Korea. This year, next week, is going to be in Sabah, Kota Kinabalu, hosted by UC Malaysia Sabah. Next year, it will be Mahidol University, Bangkok, Thailand. So those of you who are doing any research that's related to public health, you're more than welcome to join us at a conference next week in Sabah, or perhaps next year in Mahidol University, Bangkok, Thailand, all right? Now, this journal is in text both in Scopus and ISI. ISI, yeah, Scopus is here, ISI, WOS is there, all right? And in fact, last 2 days, I happened to be at the University of Sri Lanka, and I was conducting a 2-day writing workshop for them. Now, I know it's crazy that every one of us here, is being forced to publish. So I was told in Indonesia, you must have a conference where you must publish your paper in a Scopus in-text publication. So I think all these policies come from Kementerian. In fact, our Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia also have the same policy, yeah? But I think one has to be extremely careful if one, is being pressured to publish. Because I think then sometimes it will create unscrupulous behavior, scientific misconduct. So I think other ethical issues, are bound to happen. So I think we have to be extremely careful as to what sort of journal that you're actually submitting to, all right? So this journal belongs to you, belongs to me, belongs to the people in Asia Pacific, And this is where I need your help. I need your help to submit good quality papers to my journal, but most important of all, to cite papers that are published in my journal. With that, thank you.